Good evening, Facebook. I'm at the city building. We're at the Board of Public Safety meeting. They have Creatures of Habit, the group here tonight. But other than that, they have a short agenda. There's quite a few people here. So, for a meeting. People here tonight. So this is the Board of Public Safety meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from last week. Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
I make a motion to accept the meetings, minutes from the executive meeting too. Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
Now we're gonna pay our bills. We have a total of $1,361,236.19, of which the police department is $66,795.35. These appear to be pretty much normal bill.
Yeah. I make a motion to accept the stated amount.
Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Fire department is $79,607.13, which is fine.
I make a motion for the stated amount.
Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have combined payroll, $1,214,833.21.
I make a motion for the stated amount.
Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed, thank you.
Okay, we got municipal development.
Good afternoon. I just got one for you today. It's an emergency demo for 1731 Meridian Street. It caught fire and we had to take it down. So I just need this affirmed to, the demo affirmed. And I've got the fire report here if you need to see it.
Make a motion for the demolition of 1731 Meridian. Second.
David, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chairman McKinley?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. I need your signatures.
Okay. Now we're in miscellaneous, so for ambassador for God's creations. If you have something to say, come up and the microphone. Give us your name and then spell it for the record. Again, I just want to reiterate a little bit. We're here to listen to your complaints and answer your questions. We already understand, I understand the fact your passion, your drive, and your love for animals. We'll never have a perfect system, I'm not qualified to do that. My wife and I, we have 6 rescue dogs, 2 rescue cats, so I think we understand, what you're getting into, so, go ahead, name and.
My name is Tim Hartsock, Hartsock. And I'm the board president for Ambassadors for God's Creatures. We're a nonprofit organization that helps pet owners access resources and education they need to keep their pets in their homes for those who are financially struggling. I'm not just here representing myself and ambassadors, but we're partnered with many organizations within the community. One of women. We're here in the field, in the community daily, in our efforts to help with the concerns for animal welfare in Anderson. I appreciate and understand that animal welfare isn't the top priority for a city. When considering comments I've heard from the community on a weekly and daily basis, majority of the people in this community do not believe animal welfare is of any concern to the city of Anderson. The facts also support this. Since 2021, there have been no breeder license fees collected, which would indicate there have been no breeder license issued. Since 2023, there have been no fines for violations of animal ordinances in Anderson. In 2024, there was a total of $50 in fees for animal licenses be required for every pet in the city of Anderson. Just using general statistical estimates, there are approximately 38,000 pets in Anderson. Due to a lack of enforcement of the written ordinances, there's no incentive for people to follow the law and do the right thing. It appears the city of Anderson's approach to animal welfare was to contract a multi-year $1 million contract with a nonprofit to somehow absolve the city of this problem. However, the city of Anderson is still 100% responsible and accountable for enforcing the ordinances.
Can I ask you, who's giving $1 million?
The contract with APL.
That's not stuff. I'm not gonna argue that. They get $231,000. I already looked it up.
The contract is $1 million for
That's
4
not,
years.
has to be done through terminations.
The contract is $1 million for 4 years, which comes out to what you're saying.
That's different. There's a difference when they get $1 million. It sounds like
I
$1 million
understand that
in 1
difference.
year versus $1 million in 4 years. I'm not taking it by side, but
Right, I'm saying $1 million contract. The contract is for $1 million, it's over 4 years. There's no dispute there. The city of Anderson is still responsible and accountable for enforcement of the ordinances, regardless of that contract. The senior humane officer is the sole person responsible for following enforcement of these ordinances. That's written into the ordinance. The SHO reports to this board directly and has not been held accountable to uphold the responsibilities of an SHO. This lack of accountability and unfulfilled responsibilities puts an unfair burden on the community, and specifically on organizations like Ambassadors for God's Creatures, Madison County Humane Society, and many others. Our resources are depleted by people not following the law. The lack of enforcement on these specific laws is just a specific example. But if the city of Anderson was enforcing the dog license and breeder license ordinance, we could require our clients who are coming in for assistance to disclose if they have a breeder's license, which would disqualify them for our services. Also, if the individual had to have the animal license, which is required by law, we would be able to see that license and know whether their dogs are spayed or neutered, which is a requirement to receive our resources. There are also many other individual examples of members of the community contacting animal control and getting no response and no action. I won't go into those individually because they can be overwhelming. I just want to point out that a general basis of communication and conversations that I've had, there's a consensus that more often than not, nothing is done. I hope I've been able to express the concerns of this community to you in a manner to emphasize the need for enforcement and action by this committee to remedy a long-standing issue. I want to close with a personal statement. I've calmly laid these specific issues out. I don't want to leave out the passion and drive that brings me here. I've been an advocate for animals all my life. I spent the last 20 years as a professional involved with shelters and rescues, as well as in the homes in this community. I'll be passionate and driven to improve the animal welfare in this community. The animals and those who love them need a voice. I'm here for that voice. I'm here to do the right thing, and I hope you'll do the right thing and hold your SHO accountable to enforce the ordinances that are already on the books. Thank you.
The main thing that comes before the safety board so far has been vicious dogs. We deal with the vicious dogs. We have a deputy that regulates all the dogs. That goes through the police department. They're not here to represent themselves. numbers. I got the number for the police department. If you can get something to scribble on. 648-6700. 648-6700. Or the emergency number, which goes right to dispatch. We don't want you down 911. Somebody's hurt, that's good. But there's another line there besides 911, which is 648-6770. So you can get that number 24 hours a day, where it goes to dispatch. And they're there 24 hours a day. So that's an important to know. I talked to the chief, who's on vacation, and he said he would talk with individuals. He set up a meeting and talked to him. He told us he would. I don't think he wants to put them. You know, he promised me it'd be the SHO is going to be Mike Anderson, who is an active police officer. He just got the job this week, and he hasn't got his feet wet yet, so he has to learn the job. So he's the other guy, you guys, in my opinion, it's important to talk to who the chief is, because he's the one who's going to be directly involved. I don't know if the mayor is going to appoint an SHO like Chris preside. I don't know if he's going to go back there or not go back there. I have no idea. It is a problem. I can't talk to my wife about it. I didn't do it funny. She's a lot stronger feet than I am. So we have 6 rescue dogs and 2 rescue cats. 4 of them have just been caught, and 2 of them came from APL. We love our animals. I've tongue in cheek has said before, if I have to leave or one of those dogs have to leave, I might as well pack. That's just the way it is. So we understand your passion, we really do. There's no perfect system. They can never be better than it has been. So I agree with you on that. Does anybody else have something to say?
I'd just like to say one thing.
Just say your name and respect.
Susie Sheedy, SCHIEVE. Mike's helped me with a pit bull one time, saved her life. Malia and I, along with Elizabeth Hobbs, wrote the ordinances. And we spent a lot of time on the ordinances, trying to make them better for the community. So we would have something to go by when the animals were mistreated, out in the heat, in the cold, not fed, or whatever. Tim Lannon was the one that brought it before the city council. And it was approved. I have never been able to get an animal, to get through to the animal control officer. All these years, it was never able to do it. With the Humane Society, people would call their dogs tied up to the front porch. Nobody went out to check on it. And that's all we're asking. We want to pull together as a community to take care of this situation. And we're hoping now with Chief Anderson, which I've dealt with, who's a wonderful person, that maybe we'll have some continuity to this and some, but I mean, I got to the point where my phone call was never answered. People that would call in the phone was never available to call in. So that's all we're asking is for help. Help for the animals in this community that are suffering.
I talked to Mike Anderson, we talked to him about there needs to be written,
Speak up.
he needs paperwork. He needs to follow up if somebody gets called and they come and say, well, everything looked okay. I've heard excuses like, well, it's on my property.
No,
Of
that
course
doesn't
of
make.
course it is. But,
I'm
he's
sorry.
supposed to, start records of who was sick, what they saw, so forth. That gives him, gives you guys, gives us teeth, something to work on. Like I said, the main thing we deal with now is vicious dogs. And most of you guys would know, but that's not easy. It's not just, you got a vicious dog, you have to do this. We have to take all these steps. that we have to go through, you know, to get this, our issues dealt with. We've had two of them, but they've been backwards.
And I understand that, but what about the animals that aren't vicious that need our help? That's what we're asking. And I have a lake cottage up in northern Indiana, Warsaw. They are constantly arresting people, taking them in, put them in jail for animal abuse, which I consider abuse, an animal tied out when it's 100 degrees or 30 below. I just think we need to have some kind of follow-up. And we as a community deserve that, and the animals deserve it.
I agree with you 100%. It's something that we have to deal with the police department with. And then it can come to us if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
What about the animal control officer? Would the animal control officer be in charge of this?
Mike Anderson?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
And I'm hoping, and I know him, and I've always had a good rapport with him.
I spoke with Mike the other day, he talked, just not getting started out in this, he definitely focused on it. He knows we need to do better. He knows the situation is.
And I think that his officers that work with him need to read and understand the ordinances and what they are. And I mean, we had a situation right after Maria and I wrote the ordinances where a fella, we picked up a dog. Our dog was brought to us, a dachshund, not neutered. And in the ordinance it says that an animal cannot go back unless the people get a breeding license or agree to have the dog altered. And one of the officers came. He said they weren't going to comply with it. It was a horrible situation. That was right in the beginning. So I'm just hoping we can all work together to make it better. That's all we're asking.
And just to add, I can't speak to, I know our first speaker, talking about spade and neutering, ordinances, and there are some things that are on that side of the spectrum. I can't speak to those. I do know with regard to animal abuse and neglect, there obviously previously Chris Hockenham for the city was also a kind of correlate officer with the sheriff's department. There have been actually a lot more in the past year criminal cases filed, and those are typically filed in the city courts. Traditionally, those have been moved to Madison County Circuit Court 5, which has more resources to deal with those as opposed to the city courts. So I think a lot of it, in terms of the abuse and neglect, hasn't necessarily been through the code enforcement, but through the criminal code.
Okay.
So there is that side of it. There have been people that have been arrested, charged with, it's typically a misdemeanor, it can be a felony, particularly misdemeanors, that get charged, and then the judge in that court would determine not only to some extent what happens with the criminal case, but also whether or not the owner would get their dog back during the pendency of that. So it's kind of a separate process. That might be why some of it doesn't go through the ordinances, it just goes through the criminal courts.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have something to add? We understand your passion and your compassion. We understand. So many people, not the people in this room, obviously, so many people think that it's just an animal. It's just an animal. That's not the right way. So, if, we're done with,
We have one
I have
more.
nothing to say, that we're done with this meeting. But we do have somebody that wants to talk about ambulances. So you ain't gonna have to stay for this, unless you think you're gonna get sick while you're here.
We can take care of you on that too. Okay, hello, I'm David Sargent, S-A-R-G-E-N-T, and I'm here to talk about the city's ambulance situation. And gentlemen, thank you both for your service to the community. I know you're both retired fire chiefs. Thank you very much. I did some research and I was concerned because especially now, even the social media, the ambulance situation here in Anderson has drawn a lot of attention. Okay, so I did some research and I found out the city of Muncie is running 6 or 7 ambulances for their city. They're a population of 65,000. So depending on whether they're running 6 or 7, you're talking about one ambulance per 9,500 or 10,800 The city of Anderson should have either 5 or 6 ambulances running statistically based upon that information. Now, I don't like to get caught with my foot in my mouth, so I talked to a lot of firefighters, done a lot of research, and we should really have that 4th ambulance going. I know you're just an oversight, but you're responsible for the public safety of the citizens of Anderson, plus everybody who travels into Anderson for food, entertainment, travel, whatever's necessary. So with command responsibility and also the weight of command, I would ask you to do all you could to work with the rest of the administration, fire department chief here, to get that 4th ambulance on the road, because each ambulance crew, from my understanding and what I've talked, is running an average of 14 runs a day, and that is stretching them beyond the limits. For over 30 years, I was either a paid or volunteer in emergency services as an EMT, as a peace officer, and in emergency management. So I know what it's like to get out of bed, 1 minute later be running down the road, red lights and sirens. So I would ask that you find some way to give your qualified Anderson Fire Department personnel who are on the ambulance a little relief and a little respite, so they aren't stressed as much as they are. Thank you both very much for your attention.
The other thing is, by bringing these things here, including the organizations for the animals, it's now an official record now. It's not somebody talking to somebody. This is going into a board meeting. Now it's on record what your concerns are and that kind of thing. That's a positive step in the right direction. Mr. Cody?
Thank you, sir. Cody Lever with Anderson Firefighters. I just, like you said, I wanted to go on record. I appreciate everything Mr. Sargent said. This is the first time I've met this gentleman, and to avoid any retaliatory efforts on any side, one way or the other. I did not ask him to come and speak. He is a concerned citizen. I just wanted to put that on record. We are still advocating, and we will continue to advocate for this to get done. We are working every single day with the chiefs to get this done, and as you guys know, as you pointed out, improve the minutes. We did have to go that route, but I just wanted to go on record to say that this is a concerned citizen. He did this on his regard. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
I do. It's not about this, though. Lord. Rebecca Crumes Anderson. I was just reporting a house in on 12th Street. The weeds are halfway up the house in the backyard. The whole backyard is covered. It'll be reaching the roof pretty soon. And I went to report it in municipal development, and I was told that if it was in the backyard and it had a fence, that they were no longer cutting backyards. Are you aware of that? Well, listen, you're on the safety board, and that's health and safety. This is a nice neighborhood. In fact, it's just a couple doors down from former Senator Lannon. The people right next door to that, who happens to be my brother, he's taking care of a sick wife. He keeps his yard immaculate. The people on the other side keep their yards done, and almost the whole neighborhood. But when you have grass and weeds that tall, that's a health and safety. You got rats, you got raccoons, you got all kind of animals. They have 2 little grandchildren, 7 and 9. And they're scared to even let them go in their backyard, which is fenced in. But as far as the ordinance is concerned, do you have any control over that? Or is there an ordinance saying that they no longer, because if it is the city of Anderson, the citizens of Anderson need to know that, because we already looking like a third world country over there. And something has got to be done about these weeds and these uncut yards. I know that the city can cut it and charge it to the tax, whoever owns that property, because there is no unclaimed property around here. Somebody owns these empty lots, and they need to be cited and fined and taken through that process. If they don't have enough help, which I've been told that before, not today, but other summers that I've come up here, that takes a lot of work and effort. But if if y'all ride around in that area, and it's not just the west side, it's all over Anderson now, and something needs to be done. Now, I'll be reporting it to the health department, and like I said, I just left Trina's office, she wasn't in there. But are you aware of any ordinance have been brought before you?
There's been no changes to the ordinance on yard issues. I mean, if it's, the weeds are that high, that's probably a violation if it's out there at the house, but as soon as you report it, I know the issue.
Well, somebody did report it, and they said they're no longer cutting grasses that had fences around them in the backyard.
Yeah, I'm not sure who you talked to. I know the issue typically this time of year is that obviously as soon as it gets warm, everybody calls about yards at the same time, and you can't do that at the same time.
Yeah, I understand that, but this one is taller than this thing here. But you're saying there has not been any new ordinances put forth. Well, Trina, are you aware of anybody saying not to cut backyards if they got fences in them because there's been some damage or claims or something?
Well, this isn't my position anymore.
Oh.
I haven't done that since 2016.
Well, whose
So,
position is it? I don't know
but I
that.
can kind of answer. I don't want to overstep and get myself in trouble.
Well, who is over it?
Well, let me explain, Rebecca.
Well,
Hold
you
on.
said it ain't your
Hold-
position. I want to talk
But
to
I,
who.
but I know. But I know.
well,
I can
it's not
explain
your
to the board.
position.
Okay.
I want to know
Okay.
who is in charge. What?
This argument isn't helping. Once you go ahead and sit back down, let her finish.
They now have the street department. When properties are written up, we send a 10-day notice. If that 10 days they don't cut the property does go to the street department. And it's my understanding that if there is a fence, front yard or backyard, they will not cut it because they cannot get their equipment out.
Trina, I wanted to ask, do they hire private companies too?
No, not
Does the city hire
anymore.
private?
Not anymore. They haven't done that since before 2008. That's the way we used to take care of them when I was the inspector. But
It's not a good answer. You can't get a mower into there. That's not a.
that's the excuse we get. And in the summertime, we do not take them to court. They go directly out to the street department unless it is not a vacant home. And then we'll take them to court. So
So who should,
anybody in that office will take the complaint. You have to file an affidavit with environmental.
street department
With environmental, it has to start out with environmental. It has to have a 10-day notice.
is that out of your office?
Yes, out of the building commissioner's office. They have to come in, or somebody will email them an affidavit, they fill it out, and then we send an inspector out, and it starts then. I know that we have sent out, because I am helping, it's not my position, but I am helping. I know we've sent out 300 letters in the past 3 weeks. So, we try and get 20 letters a day.
How do you follow up on that?
There is 10 days, and on the letter it says you have 10 days and we will be out to inspect on a certain day. So there are reports that are ran that the inspectors do go out and do a second inspection on. So we have Todd has the whole department working on this, on the weeds. Because this happens every end of May and 1st of June, that's when it hits. If you don't grasp a hold of it at first, those weeds are this tall.
That's not the grass and stuff. I live in 40 acre woods, I can't walk across my yard without mosquitoes and shit.
Right, right,
There's grass. I mean, a little effort.
yeah. But that's where you go to file a complaint. You walk into our office, they'll give you an affidavit. It doesn't matter who you talk to. If you want to make a complaint about the stuff not being done, then I would make an appointment with Todd Fisher.
Is he the one over it?
He's the department head.
Okay.
Yes.
But you said there was somebody else over those.
No, we have inspectors,
Okay.
but Todd Fisher is the department head.
Yeah, I
And
understand
he's
that.
over everybody in there. So we have 2 inspectors, but the guys are also helping, and we have 5 guys that are helping. So we're putting tags on doors. I've seen pictures, I print out the pictures, I do the legals. Once that tag hits that door, that's the beginning of your 10 days. So when it comes back into the office, whatever day is on that tag, that's the date on your letter.
Yeah, I know you know what you're doing.
So,
But I didn't fill out the affidavit because I was told by the young lady in there that they would not cut it. So is that what was, that's why I was trying to ask her who was in charge. Is that what they're telling people?
the
Because
cutting
if
would be
you're
the
being,
street department.
if you're telling people in that office that we're not cutting it because it's got a fence around it, they're not gonna fill out an affidavit. I gave her the affidavit back. You know, I was in the midst of filling it out, but she said they're not gonna be sending anybody out. So that's what I'm trying to clarify with this board who is over health and safety.
That would be Levi Cox, he's ahead of the street department. That would be a question, that's what we were told from them.
So he made that decision, as far as you know.
That I don't know,
You don't know?
that I don't know.
So
I just know
Mr.
what
Fisher
I've been
might
told
know.
in there.
Okay, Mr. Fisher, do y'all know? Anybody tell y'all anything? I didn't think so. Thank you, Trina.
You're welcome.
Anybody
Thanks.
else? Anybody else have anything you want to bring up? Meeting adjourned.
Okay, Facebook, that's adjourned, but I'm going to try to find out about this weeds and stuff. Spencer, can you check on that for me about this not cutting the grass if it's got a fence around it? You call who? Oh, well, you the attorney. Okay, well, thank you. There's no wonder this place looks like it looks. This is a disgrace, and I'm mad about it. But, yeah, I'm still recording. Ken, did you get that? You gonna put that in the paper tomorrow?
What's that?
About the not cutting the grass if it's got a fence around it? I'm getting ready to go out here and film it, and so look for it on Facebook. Because this is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I'm getting ready to go, y'all. Bye.